Okay, mouse tails. First things you're going to want to do is remove the elastic piece from your mouse tail. On mine it was just kind of tucked in here. And just pull it out. Get rid of that white elastic because it does not match your red costume. There's a little metal loop sticking out there. Hold on to that. Determine how your tail goes on the loop. Now, measure the back of your costume from one side seam all the way around. Ooh, more familiar with inches, use inches, to the other. Which could be kind of tricky because like mine, it kind of stretchy and stuff. So I got 13 inches. Stretch it out. 13 inches. So I want my center to be at 6.5. So there's my center. I'm going to lay that loop down right at that center spot I just determined. And then eyeball it. Look at your costume and go, is that the center? Yes, it is. Then we're going to go through a little bit of the lycra and a little bit of the skirt and go through that loop. Okay, so on my thread I do have a knot at the bottom so that it doesn't pull through all the fabric. I'm going to go through that loop twice. Now, I have my tail on my skirt so that the tail is pointing up at the head with the curve pointing into the back. I'm doing that because then we can hide the tail so when we flip it over it's going to look cute and kind of stick out a little bit more than if we do it the other way. Then it's just flat and kind of hides in the foofy of the skirt. Okay, so now we're going to take and we're going to go pick a direction. So I'm going to go that way. I'm going to go through the lycra and a little bit of the skirt. Then I'm going to go beyond that white seaming because we don't want to see that in the finished thing. Okay, and do lots of stitches fairly close together. You see how I'm just barely going through both. But remember, they pull on these skirts. So we want to make sure we do a lot. This is called a running stitch. So I'm going around the tail actually, going into the fabric, and then coming out through the tail. That's also going to tuck in all of this bare into where I'm bare fabric into where I'm pulling this tight. Oh, see there, I forgot to go through the tail. Through the tail. Okay. All the way to one side. Now, if you don't want to measure the skirt because you're like, you can see where your center is, that's fine, but try and get it as close to the center as you can. Some of us will be a little off, and that's fine as long as it's close because they gotta grab the tails, right? Now, I got all the way to one end, and I'm going back through that side of the tail, and then I'm going to start the other side. Remembering to go beyond that white stitch. We can shove that metal piece back up in the thing too a little bit if we want to. Get it up in there. Just sew all the way to the other end. And when I get to the other end, I'm going to go through that end a couple times. Then I'm going to go put my needle through a couple of my stitches and wrap the thread around a couple times. So go through, but don't pull all the way through, okay? And then you're going to go, let's see, I usually go under and then cross over the needle and go around and around 2 times. And then pull it through, tie at least 2 knots there at the end. Then you should be able to flip over your tail and have an adorable little bouncy tail with a nice clean edge right at your waistband, right in the center. Perfect!